Hello, everybody out there. Sorry, just getting organized here. Hopefully you can confirm that my microphone is working well. Hello, David, DB Tech. Still getting my screen a little organized here so I can see live chat. Thank you, Count. I appreciate that. I've got, I guess this hard hat sits really high on your head on purpose. I just made it bigger and it still looks like it's just perched on the top of my skull, but you should be able to see that it is a Tampa Bay Buccaneers helmet. I've been a Buccaneers fan since 1987 and barely squeaked out a victory today, but 3-0, so I'm excited about that. Hello, Mason-Dixon Railroad. How are you doing? Thomas Grassi, I see you're on here. Randall Ellison, what is going on? I hope health is good for you, Randall, and that you're making some progress on your locomotive project. Hello, Ray. What's up? Good to see you, sir. It's always good to have support from my other Sidetrack Sunday members. Really good. I'm really more of a college football fan, but it's not, college football isn't quite what it used to be with the portal and everything else. Good evening, Chuck Schreiber. How are you doing, Chuck? Good to see you here, sir. I need to subscribe to your channel, Chuck. I'm sorry. I'm going to make a note right now to subscribe to your channel. I think I promised to do that. Joe Rader. I'm glad you're here, Joe, because I'm going to be talking about how to keep your workspace organized and neat. And yours is organized and neat if ever there was one, so I'll be looking for your advice. Let me write down Chuck Schreiber here so that I do not forget to subscribe to his channel and find out a little bit more about his hobby pursuits. All right, so I'm going to try and you know, when you only live stream once a month, it's hard to keep up with the technology and to have everything going straight, you know. It is hard. So I just got another 2 minutes here, so as usual, hello Dwight. What is going on at the Curly Express? I saw you were streaming a while back. You were recovering from a fall. Yikes! I hope you're doing well. I hope you're doing well. JD, how are you, sir? Good to see you out here. Lynn McCurdy, welcome, welcome. Well, Lynn, you're going to get an opportunity to tell me the specifics of that desk organization technique a little bit later. Nice, James. Hello, Rusty at Possum Bayou. Good to see you, sir. Welcome aboard. Hope everything is well for you. I know you're a Louisiana guy. If you're an LSU guy, then you're happy. I think LSU football is doing pretty well. Ken Amos. How are things going? I hope your move is going well. We're excited to hear about that and to see your layout progress once you get into your new space. So that will be exciting. That will be exciting. Well, the gang is all here. Yeah, you know, Dave, I am tired from that stream did tire me out, but I also just got back late last night on a flight from Dallas through Chicago, weather delays. Oh, okay, you're a Mississippi guy. Well, I don't know whether you're a Mississippi State guy, Rusty, or if you're a Rebel fan, but Ole Miss Rebels, but I think they both won, didn't they? I'm not sure. I'm not sure. Well, I will. Hello, Bernard at Mini Prince. Good to see you, sir. Thank you. I know you. I don't think you were on our marathon stream last week that David DB Tech hosted, but we acknowledged your generosity and all your efforts during the Sparky's meet and greet. We really enjoyed that, and so thank you very much for hosting us and for our little gifts and my little mini Sparky that I've got. I just looked at it today. So thank you for that. Hello, Anthony Dodge. Welcome aboard. Great to see you. Hope you had a great weekend and that you're looking forward to a good week. So I guess that makes you a Bulldog fan, Rusty. Midsummer Railway N Scale. Hello, how are you doing? Good to see you here. Ah, well, man. Hang in there, Midsummer. That sounds like a difficult travail. Good luck to you. Hang in there. We're rooting for you, and we want you in the community. Yes, Bernard. Yeah, we had a 2-hour. It probably could have gone on longer. I just was losing energy. Dave and Nathan DeLay were on. Well, the three of us were on together, sharing our memories of the meet and greet and photos, and it was a very exciting stream. Very exciting stream. I'm not sure that I'm going to be able to meet that standard today, but I'll do my best. I may have to take this hard hat on because the way it's perching high on my head is really irritating me. It just seems like it looks weird. Ah, you do. You've got your own Bulldogs. I bet you do. I bet you do, James. All right. So let me change my my view here. And so I'll show you quickly here. So I was traveling to Dallas to spend time. Here's my lovely wife, Rose, who many of you remember from the meet and greet. And that is our first grandchild. So he is the son of my stepson, John, and his wife, who is from the Philippines. So hence his appearance. Very sweet baby. Hopefully he will be a model railroader. We'll see. But he is... he's got a fighting chance. One of the topics I want to talk about today, and I'm not going to talk about it right off the bat, but I want to talk about a little article I read about how to get youth into the hobby. And his father, my stepson John, actually showed me, a Lego model car that he had completed. We started it together. He completed it recently, and so I was successful in getting him into kind of the modeling bug. Maybe not model trains, but at least modeling. He really enjoys putting together kits, and so that was so it can be done. So it can be done. Yeah, Thomas, and I'm sorry. I think the chat is a little slow on my software. I think this hat does have some adjustments inside. But honestly, I think I don't think I can adjust it anymore in terms of the height over my head. I can adjust it in terms of fitting around my giant noggin, but I can't adjust the height of the thing. So I'm probably going to have to switch back to a bucket hat. One of the things that happened to me on the meet and greet was I lost my PK&W baseball cap. So I'm going to have to order another one. But at any rate, here you can see my grandson. This is why I traveled back late last night. I wanted to do the live stream from my own computer. And honestly, 3 days of a baby was quite enough for me. I'm not in love with him the way his grandmother is in love with him. So, but we'll see if we can make a model railroader out of this guy. So I've got an agenda, as usual. I know it's supposed to be Sidetrack Sunday, and I'm not supposed to stay on track, but I do have an agenda. Oh, hey, I see Ron from Southwest Railroad's on. Hello, Ron. What's going on? Are you still out west, Ron? I know you were going out to Durango, hopefully to ride a tourist railroad, so we want to hear a little bit about that in chat if you can give that to us. I'd really appreciate it. All right, so I've got an agenda, and the first thing I'm going to talk about is what I promised about in my thumbnail, which is how to stay organized and to keep your desk neat. And so I'm going to cover a few of the things that are covered in this book, Atomic Habits. And the basic premise of this book, and you know, I apologize. You come in here for model trains, and half the time you get me with this psychobabble. Sorry. But I am fascinated by this sort of stuff. And also, I want to get better. I want to have a neat and organized space like James Galton and Joe Rader. And so I'm always trying to find ways to improve. I'm not a huge self-help junkie, but, you know, so be it. But the premise of this book is that if you make small changes and you just repeat them with great frequency, that you will create habits. You can create good habits, and you can also make it more difficult for you to engage in bad habits. So that's kind of the premise of this book. I was just fed this by the algorithm, and so I thought I would apply this to my own life, my own modeling efforts, and see what I could do. And so I think I have it doesn't look like I have the table of contents saved, but I do think that I'll show you. Here it is. Here's what the book looks like on Amazon. It's like $15 for the hardcover. And honestly, I think it's pretty good. I think it has, here it is, $14.50. I think it has some pretty good applications to our life as model railroaders. I see everybody still saying hello. I hope I haven't missed anybody coming into the chat. I see Todd is back with us. He may have been here the whole time. But at any rate, I'm going to go over a few things. I'll leave this up, the title of the book up while I talk through a few of these examples. This is kind of my first segment tonight, which is how to apply these in order to become better modelers. And the first thing I'll share is one of the concepts is that you have to make good habits easy. And so one of the things I was struggling with was cleaning up my workbench every time I was done modeling for the day. And I realized that you can kind of see behind me here, this tool chest was very hard to reach. It was back against the wall. The workbench is 36 inches deep, which is too deep. And so it was very hard to put away the tools. And so I didn't want to do it. And so I have now moved the tool chest closer to my work area so that, because even when I'm standing, I could reach it back there. When I was sitting down, it was hard to reach. So, that's right, Dave. It's like the psychology. I'm not going to get into the psychology behind hoarding. What I am going to get into is the psychology of getting better at modeling. I think we all can agree that having a neat and organized workspace, knowing where all your tools are, being able to find them when you need them saves you a ton of time, and you're not looking for your tools all the time, right? So being neat and organized is a valuable thing, and it makes you more efficient, and you'll make it through your stash faster. You'll build more of your models. You'll get your trains running, that sort of thing. So the first thing is make good habits easy. So I moved my tool chest so that it is closer to me. So that's one thing you should think about your workspace. There is a concept in the table of contents. There's a whole chapter that says motivation is overrated. Environment often matters more. And the example they gave was how this cafeteria at a hospital wanted people to eat more healthily, and all they did was change the location. You know, they kept the same amount of soft drinks in the same location, but they put bottles of water all around the cafeteria. And lo and behold, water consumption went up by 25%, just because they made it easy for people to grab a bottle of water. So I'm making it easy for me to put my tools away. So you need to think about your own workspace and what you can do to make it easy to be neat if you're not neat, or to be even neater and cleaner if you're already like Joe Rader. But at any rate, that's my first step in doing this. And actually, as soon as I moved that tool chest, I immediately put all my tools in it. It was right there. It was easy to put away all my tools. So hopefully it'll continue to work like that. Yeah, we're going to talk about bouncing from project to project a little bit, Ray, because I do think that that's, I've got at least something planned to try to make that a little bit better for me. Okay, so the next thing I'm going to talk about is a thing they call about stacking habits. So if I do this thing, the next thing I'm going to do is this, and you have two good habits you've executed back to back. And ever since I moved into my new workshop, I've wanted to broom the floor, sweep the floor every night. And because it bothers me, because it's so perfectly clean, I want to keep it that way. And so the other day I was looking in my garage. Hello, Sparky, good to see you here. Yes, Sparky, I saw that your workbench was quite small, and I think that just makes being neat and organized all that more important. So back to stacking habits. So the other day I was in my garage at the house, and I found this big broom that I brought into the space to use every night. And I'll go back to my webcam only view for now. You all don't need to be watching that. And so hopefully the view changed to be a little bit, well, I won't say better since you're seeing more of me, but hopefully the view has changed here. Hello, Rail Artist. I see you're here. Good to see you, sir. I hope your wife is well. Sparky, ditto for your wife, although she looked fit as a fiddle during the meet and greet, but I know she's had some health issues. So, stacking good habits. So my habit is going to be every night before I leave the shop, I'm going to use the broom. And once I've broomed, I'm going to clean the top of my workbench. I'm going to make sure everything's been put away after I've swept and before I turn out the lights. So I'm hoping that that stack tonight will be the first night that I execute on that. I just brought the broom into the space. But that's my concept, is I'm going to stack those two habits. I'm going to sweep, and then I'm going to organize my workspace. And that will, hopefully that'll help. Hopefully that'll help. I want to go back. The problem is workbench started now. It's tracks and buildings on workbench small. Yeah, well, you know, Sparky, I'm blessed with a lot of space, and the workshop is going to remain the workshop. I don't plan on running any tracks in here. I don't even plan on filling the whole building with tracks, the whole part of the building that is available to hold a railroad. So hopefully I won't have that problem. Hello, Anthony at Georgia Sunbelt. I see folks calling out to you, so it's good to see you here, sir. Hope everything is well. So, another way to make good habits easy is to just devote 2 minutes to it every day. Just tell yourself you're going to do it 2 minutes every day because it's repetition that makes a habit. It doesn't have to be for a long time. If you do it for 2 minutes and you do it every day, eventually you're going to do it more, longer, and it's going to become a habit. And the examples given in the book were of people who literally went to the gym and they only stayed 5 minutes every day. But they went every day to the gym. And eventually, going to the gym became a habit. And they said, I'm here, I'm going to exercise longer than 5 minutes. And lo and behold, they lost weight and it was beneficial to them. And they had developed a really good exercise habit. And so how do we do this? You know, I'm blessed that one, I'm not working, and so I have every day to come into the shop. And two, I have the shop. But if you're working full-time or you're having trouble spending a lot of time at the bench and actually getting modeling done, the thing to do is spend 2 minutes. It's the 2-minute rule according to this Atomic Habits book. Spend 2 minutes at your workbench every day. And if you do this, you will, I'm sure you will find that you'll start to be productive. You'll start to do something with that 2 minutes. 2 minutes will become 5 minutes, will become 15 minutes, will become 45 minutes, and you'll be making a lot more progress in the hobby, and you will have developed the habit of modeling and of spending time at your bench. So that's another example. Another concept out of the book, and I'm sorry, I'm going to get a little woo-woo here, is identity. And what the book claims is, the book does not claim that a hard hat is very hot, but it is very hot. So I'm going to change over to my bucket hat with my Canadian flag pin on it that I think I got from Floyd, possibly? I believe so. If I got that wrong, I apologize. Maybe I got it from Todd, but I think it was from Floyd. At any rate, one of the things the book indicates is that habits are connected with your sense of identity and how you identify. So in our example of the modeler with the messy workbench, if you identify as a messy person who's trying to get organized, you're probably going to fail. That you need to identify as an organized person. And so you need to kind of change your mindset. And I apologize, I didn't memorize enough about the book about how to change your sense of identity. They do have some tricks about that, but you need to say, hey, I am an organized modeler. I have an organized workbench. Not I'm trying to achieve, I hope to achieve. No, you are. It has to be present tense. It has to be part of your sense of identity. So think of yourself as an organized person. And honestly, you are if you can build a model railroad. Okay? So, Ron, I don't know if I've seen in the chat what your status is, whether you're still out in Durango, whether you had a good time out there. So if you could throw something in the chat about that, that would be great. That would be great. So last but certainly not least, I'm going to get back to Mr. Bobel's issue about having too many projects going on at one time. And I'm not going to solve that. You know, and there have been some interesting discussions in some static modeling podcasts about this, and you know, the shelf of doom, the shelf queens, all that stuff. We all have, a lot of us have those, but some don't. Some people just finish everything they start. And I wonder, Joe Rader, if you're one of those people, if you could let us know in the comments. Oh, okay, you've been there before, Ron. So by been there before, you mean out in Durango. So you don't need to ride the rails out there. I've got to expand my chat box a little bit here. Still not sure I'm seeing the bottom of chat, but it's the best I can do. Okay, Thomas, I see you have multiple workbenches and you always keep them clean, it looks like. I'll have to see the rest of your comment when it comes up onto my screen. But having multiple projects going at one time, I'm trying to organize by putting projects into boxes. So you can see here, here are a couple of these. So here's some auto loading ramps in a box. They don't really quite fit in that box, right? Here are parts for one of the ramps in a different size box, an old kit box. And I'm thinking this is not the best box situation. So if any of you use some sort of plastic containers or something to organize your modeling projects in, I'd love to hear what you use. But my proposal is I'm going to start making my own boxes in maybe 2 different sizes to keep my workbench organized. And I'm going to follow the system for making boxes out of sheets of cardboard and paper that is highlighted in a channel called Compelling, C-O-M-P-E-L, all caps, I-N-G, so 1 L. C-O-M-P-E-L-I-N-G, Compelling. And they make a really nice, attractive box. I'm not going to make it quite the way they make it because they're putting a patterned, they're making kind of like a gift box, a presentation box kind of thing. And they're using a patterned paper on the bottom. And obviously, I don't want to lose small parts. I'm going to make the insides of the box just plain white. Maybe the outside will be a little more decorative. I'm also going to put a lid on, and I'm going to 3D print some tiny hinges that I found on Thingiverse for hinges for RC model control surfaces that are very thin. I'm going to try and integrate those into the design so that each box will have a top. That if I want to put a small one on top of a large one, I'll be able to do that. So I'm going to start making my own boxes, but the concept is I will have each model in its box as part of my cleanup process every night so that it won't be all laying out on the top of the workbench. So so those are kind of the primary concepts for getting organized. I recommend the book Atomic Habits. And I do think, because I do think that keeping your workbench clean is a matter of having good habits about doing that. So, but tell me more about how you keep your projects organized. If you have multiple projects going on simultaneously, do you have a system for organizing that? Do you store not only your models themselves and the parts that are yet to be assembled into a finished model, but also information in some way on your computer that might be useful for all of us to know how that's done? I would like to hear from you all about how you keep that keep that organized. Boy, my chat window has stopped moving. So now I'm looking at YouTube and I can see the chats. So Ken Amos has 5 plastic rolling bins. So Ken, those have got shelves in them, I assume? Dollar store, Dave. Okay, good. Ray Bell uses cardboard box or case of soda. Okay. I see Todd and Dave both. Grandpa works in JD works in controlled chaos. I love that. Hello, Tammy. How are you doing? Assuming that's you and not Ray. If it's Ray, hello, Ray. If it's Tammy, hello, Tammy. So you have one of those rolling metal like red big rolling tool cases, Rusty? That is fancy and expensive. Okay. You know, James, I think I've seen you. I saw your rolling stock bin when I was at your layout. That looked like it was working well for you. Use the boxes for tools. Yeah, I've got to say my tools for working around the shop and household chores and stuff, they are just in like some fruit boxes. You're right, and they used to be in tool boxes. I need to get back to that. But so that's going to be my approach. I'm going to try and develop some good habits, and some I've already started to implement, like getting my tools put away. Well, that's a good solution, Tammy. I see that. I'm sure that works. So yeah, I'm not sure how big the boxes I'm going to make are going to be. Partly I want to make the boxes. I love paper crafting. I want to figure out how to make the boxes because it would be cool to be able to make them as gifts and to present people things in them in a box, the keepsake box. So it's good to learn it. What's a Wish shoe rack, Sparky? I don't know what that is. Nice, Rusty. Yeah, that's a good idea. As many of you know from past streams, I'm an estate sale junkie, and those are good sources for that sort of things. Okay, you know, Joe, your comment points out a very important thing, and that is the old adage about a place for everything and everything in its place. I do think that's important, and I'm not quite there yet with my workshop. I need to get my other desk in here. I need to finish building the desk that I'm making out of the boxcar planking. I need to get that built. That will be another work surface, and then I'll be able to bring a lot more things off the floor of the building and into the workshop. And then I'll have to create, like now I have books and things that I'm using as references. I can't refile them because the bookcase is not in this room. So I need to have a place for books that I'm currently using and that sort of thing. I don't know. James Galton, your space is extremely organized. You have a lot of stuff in your space, so you can only be so neat and clean. You can't be a minimalist to be a model railroad hobbyist. I'm sorry. But everything looks like it's very organized and put away and stored carefully in James's space. So I'm not buying his comment there that he is not very organized. I think he is organized. He looks organized to me. Yes, Randall. Yeah, you do find trains at estate sales, absolutely. And you find modeling supplies and tools. Even if the guy who passed away, sometimes The woman was into crafting, and so there's great storage options. But the guy might have been an airplane modeler, but he's got all kinds of tools. I have a box of single-edged razor blades I got in an estate sale. The guy was building, balsa wood and tissue paper models. So you just never know what you're going to find, and it's dirt cheap. Well, Rusty, I don't know whether that one should be, that toolbox should even be in use anymore. That's such a keepsake item. So 10 tape measures. Okay, all right. Well, if you're hoarding tape measures, you love tape measures, James, then just enjoy it. Just enjoy the tape measures. Enjoy the tape measures. Well, Randall, I think you might be able to benefit from some of the little tricks that I just laid out. And again, I think Atomic Habits is a great book. It's really dense. I've only read about 60% of it. A lot of it I read on the plane flying up from Dallas. But so are you all seeing? I don't know what are you still seeing just that? I thought I switched over so you weren't seeing the Atomic Habits cover. I don't know what you're seeing. Well, assuming you're seeing something, I am... Boy, that's a nice haul, Anthony. That is a nice haul. Okay, and John, are you seeing me full screen, or am I just up in the left-hand corner of the screen and you're seeing Atomic Habits cover shot? YouTube Studio is showing the cover of the book, but Prism Live is showing me taking up most of the screen. Okay, all right, well. Maybe it's YouTube. Okay, thank you, Count. Thank you, Sparky. Good to get that confirmation. It's weird that YouTube Studio is not showing what Prism Live is showing, and Prism Live is what you're seeing. So good to know that that's right. All right, Sparky. Okay, thanks, Thomas. I appreciate that. Now, Thomas, I didn't get to totally absorb your comment about what you do to keep 3 desks organized. So if you have some more input you can give us about that, how you do that mentally, how you never walk away from one of those desks with it having anything on it. I don't know what yeah, I know, Ray, but this is a long time. I took this off the book shot 15 minutes ago. So it should be showing on YouTube Studio as being what it's actually showing, but at any rate. But thanks for pointing that out. I do know it is a little bit behind. It is a little bit behind. And I'm kind of, I'm not looking straight at the camera most of the time because I've got 2 monitors going and I've got Prism Live over here. But if I put Prism Live on the screen that's right below the webcam, then I got this crazy reaction to infinity thing, and it just looks wacky. It doesn't work. So, I don't know. So, at any rate, that's enough about that. I've got a few other things that I want to talk about, some fairly major. And Anthony at GSB, I love the U-boat, don't you? Just love the look of the U-boat with that short nose. It's beautiful. It's just too dated for my era, but it's too dated for my era. But yeah, well, thank you, JD. I'm going to move on now from Atomic Habits and keeping the workbench organized. I'm going to move on to some other things. And the first is let me go back to all right, hopefully you have audio back now. Sorry about that. I may have selected something that had the wrong audio source selected. Hopefully audio has come back. I'm not going to go too far until I confirm that, okay. Well, no, James is just saying audio. All right, I'm waiting for the comments to catch up with me here. I'm hoping that you have audio now. If not, I'll switch back to... Yes, I see that, James. I've tried to fix it. It should be okay now. I changed scenes in Prism Live, and the scenes have a particular audio source selected. And so I picked the wrong... Yes, I see the chat. All right, hopefully you have audio back now. Thanks, Rusty. Okay, yeah, I don't know what's going on. I may be losing audio when I switch over to a particular scene. So let me check this. This is PC mic audio. So when I go over here, I'm going to switch my scene here, and I believe that this is the same audio source, so you should still be able to hear me. So we'll see. So this is... So hopefully you can still hear me now, and you can see my computer screen. James, I'm going to fight the duck like I fight Apple phones. I'm going to fight. Fight to the bitter end. So hopefully you all can see. I'm up in the left-hand corner of the screen now, and you can see my computer screen, and I can switch over to and show you a picture, hopefully. Wall to wall and treetop tall, yes. Well, I've switched over to another view, so hopefully you all can now see my computer screen. And I was trying to show a picture of this these trading cards from Walthers, and I was ranting. Apparently you couldn't hear my rant about these trading cards and how I think they're a kind of pitiful marketing idea that is not appealing to young people. But I don't know if anybody else has any comments on that. I just think it's dumb and silly. So I don't know, Todd. I'm not a terrible singer, but I am not going to do that. Audio good at 8:39. Okay. Thank you for that timestamp, Ray. JP, don't do that. Don't do that. Hello, A Squirrel. How are you doing? Good to see you on the stream. Appreciate it. So the other thing I wanted to talk about, I don't have one other thing. I have numerous other things I want to talk about. But I don't think I have a photograph for this. But I have previously recommended to you a podcast called Plastic Model Mojo. They now have a YouTube channel with all their podcasts on it. And so you can look them up on YouTube, Plastic Model Mojo. And one of their more recent shows was they have a guy who comes on, who visits with them, who they call Dr. Strangebrush, in honor of Dr. Strangelove. Thank you, Count. I appreciate that report. And so Dr. Strangebrush was on. Dr. Strangebrush has a website called Model Paint Solutions. And this guy is an airbrush expert, paint expert, airbrush cleaning, all these things. So I really recommend listening to this particular podcast, because if you have an airbrush, it really does provide some incredible insights. And one of the things they talked about, and I never heard about this before, I don't paint with acrylic paints. I'm thinking about making the switch for some applications from my normal lacquer-based paints. But one of the things they talk about for acrylics is that you need to do 2 coats, one almost immediately after the other. The first coat is what's called a dry coat, where you're just lightly hitting the surface from a fairly good distance so that when the paint has traveled a couple of inches to the subject, it actually dries a little bit and it provides some tooth. Then you come back closer, applying more paint, and apply a wet coat. Because I've always had my problem with acrylic paints is it's beating up, it's not really attaching to the surface. And apparently I'm not the only one who's had this problem. And so they talk extensively about doing a dry coat followed by a wet coat in order to use acrylic paints in the airbrush. I was fascinated by that, and I think if you're painting with acrylic paints, you might find that an interesting technique. So, one picture, one audio. Well, I guess that's better than one picture and 2 audios. So, so at any rate, Plastic Model Mojo. It's available on YouTube. If you don't consume podcasts, you can go to YouTube and listen to that and find the one about Dr. Strangebrush Returns. And you will, I think, learn something about how to thin paints, how to clean airbrushes. They talk about how to stage your, when you have a painting session going, whether you should spray light before dark or vice versa. There's lots of other topics they discuss. And so it's very interesting, and I think it'll make you a better airbrusher. Thank you, Count, for putting up the link to the YouTube channel for Plastic Model Mojo. So that was definitely one of the other things that I wanted to talk about. All right, so I guess I need somebody in the chat to tell me whether you can see my my screen and the pictures that I'm putting up on the screen. I've got a picture of my printer, my 3D printer up on the screen now, and I guess I want to be, that's right, James, I'm an anti-apple and anti-duck. I don't know, it's not a rational thing, but that's the way I am, so. Again, I'm looking for a little feedback in the chat about Ray Bertelson. I'm just seeing you here. Hello, sir, and that's a funny comment. That's right. We're having trouble affording real hobby supplies, and we're supposed to buy these cards in order to try and get the golden ticket like Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory. Kind of crazy. But at any rate, hopefully you can see this picture of my new 3D printer and my only 3D printer that I've ever owned, which is this Elegoo Century Carbon. And so I realized what an antiquarian I've been. Now that I have the 3D printer, I really see the incredible functionality of it and the way it speeds up a lot of things. Even in the course of building a model, and I'll show you a little bit about that later and what I did, and I'll just hold it up to the camera if you can't see my printer. But this is a filament printer, an FDM printer. It has a moving bed for one of the axes, and so one of the 3 axes, and so I've really been enjoying using it. It is a hobby within the hobby. There is a lot to learn. There's everybody on this stream who has one knows more about it than I do. That includes John at SVR, Dwight Curley, JD, Dave at DB Tech, obviously. All these people are better at 3D printing than I am. And they could all teach me a lot about it, I'm sure. But I've really enjoyed doing it. And yeah, I see Ray only uses acrylics. What brand of acrylics do you use and what kind of thinner do you use, Ray? I did buy a whole bunch of acrylic paints a while back, so I need to start using those. So the first thing I printed on my printer was the typical benchy. Hopefully, again, you can see that, which was fine. I felt compelled to do that, even though it seemed like a waste of filament. But at any rate, I did successfully print the benchy. Another thing that I printed is these wheel masks for painting the wheel faces on my rolling stock. And so I've always wanted to have these, and so it was cool to be able to print them out for a couple of cents and have those available. So I'm looking forward to using those. Of course, the first model I went to use these on. The wheels didn't fit. They're small wheels on auto racks, and so I don't think they fit either one of the masts that I printed out. So I may have to go in and modify the file. Now, in terms of, I know I burdened a lot of you with this. Oh, you do use a printer, James. I didn't realize that. I should have looked at that when I was at your shop. I have printed a ton of these jersey barriers. You can't have too many of those. I'm modeling the modern era. Now here you can see the difference. The top jersey barrier is one that I printed without ironing on. But I turned on ironing for top surfaces, printing the one down below, and look at that. It just closed up all those holes and really made it a much smoother and much better looking print. So I've learned, that's one lesson I've learned. When you get a rough surface like that on the top, you can turn on ironing. And getting the paint viscosity correct, yeah, Ray, I don't know. I've always had problems with it. So James, that's all you airbrush with is craft paints? You paint your rolling stock with craft paints as well? That's interesting. So at any rate, I've spent a ton of time printing these jersey barriers. The top one I actually sprayed with a rattle can. I sprayed a whole bunch. I probably made 50 of these, printed out 50 of these jersey barriers. By the way, they're called jersey barriers because they were popularized in New Jersey in the 50s. New Jersey was the first state to actually start using them, and then they spread around the country. This K-rail design here is what they popularized. Now, there are other jurisdictions that some jurisdictions have adopted other standards. They found that this tends to, if a car hits it at the right angle, they go airborne, and so they've created some other geometries there. Okay, thank you, Ken. I appreciate that update on what you can and cannot see. So this is another thing I printed. I've really kind of gotten I'm starting to move on to the next phase of printing, however. I've printed a ton of things that I'll need to have on my layout, a bunch of, porta potties and kitchen appliances and dumpsters and things like that. The next phase, I'm going to have to move on to the next phase soon enough. So I printed out, here's a shot of a propane tank that I printed out. I think this one, it shows a lot of surface imperfections, and I was printing it too thick layers and no ironing, so I changed it over to 0.1 millimeter layer height and ironing on, and it came out better. And here is that same item, I think, when I've removed the supports. So got a couple of those in store. I also printed out this entire little boat, which came out pretty well. I was able to get those trees out of there, print the roof, which still needs a little bit of cleanup, but I was pretty happy with that. Ron, Ray is actually hosting a meet and greet at Timonium this year, so maybe I'll see you there. Tamiya acrylic for airbrushes. Thomas likes that. What are you thinning it with, Thomas? With the Tamiya proprietary solvent, or are you using something else? I think that's important. Tamiya. I'm not exactly sure how to pronounce that. I believe Mr. Tamiya passed away also. So the next phase of my 3D printing is going to be doing some modeling. And one of the first objects I want to model is is this water tank. I see James is saying he doesn't use solvent-based paints. I know he's painting in his basement. He doesn't have a way to vent it out. That makes perfect sense. I paint with acrylic paints that I decant out of, that are acetone-based paints that I decant out of spray cans, but I have a spray booth that's vented outside, so I don't really have the same problems. So I can paint with whatever I want to paint with. Oh, Anthony at Georgia Sunbelt is going to be a timonium. That's one more reason for me to go. So this is the first thing that I want to model on my own in 3D. And oh, and JD's bringing Jack. Okay. And so, you know, my story here is I took this water tank and I had the manufacturer's drawings, full dimensions for it. I had a ton of information. This was one of 4 or 5 pictures I had of this tank. And I fed this all into ChatGPT 5. And it was a really bad experience. Oh, I see. That's good. Well, Thomas, I've only got one color filament at the moment. I just love painting. I do like painting and finishing models. My favorite part of the process. So I fed the technical drawings of this tank and the pictures, or a tank similar to it. I think it was an elliptical tank, but I had drawings, photographs. I fed this all into ChatGPT 5, and I said, give me an STL file that I can print and make sure that it has the indentations on the sides for the tie-down straps. And I got a really basic file. I did get an STL file. It had the lower drain plug. It had the upper hatch. But it had no legs, and it had no indentations for the tie-down strap. So it was one step better than a basic cylinder. And I can make a basic cylinder in Blender in about 2 minutes less, 30 seconds probably. So, I'm going to try this in, I'm going to try it in Meshy AI, Meshy.ai. Which is an AI that specializes in creating 3D models. And I'll see if I get a better result. But if I don't, then I'm going to have to go into Blender and really learn Blender and make this myself. But as you can see, it's a plastic water tank. And you've probably seen these on trucks. And you can see the fluid level inside. And what I plan on doing is having a horizontal floor about halfway up this tank and a hole in the bottom. So you can then spray inside there a color, blue, whatever, and hopefully it will simulate the tank being half full of some fluid or 3/4 full, wherever I put the floor in there. So, okay, Ron, you're going to be in timonium. One more good reason for me to go. I'm really, I don't know. Ray, can you remind us all the dates on timonium? I've got, I may be otherwise occupied, unfortunately. I may be in North Carolina at the time, visiting with some family friends. So, we'll have to see. All right, boy, the timonium thing is coming together, Ray. This is looking good. It's looking good. I hope it, just use water, okay? Okay. I know a lot of people use retarders and other things that they put into their acrylic paints and, or things to speed up drying. So, yeah, distilled water obviously is safer than tap water. So James, what is in your custom thinner? Why don't you can you share some of the basics of your recipe with us, or are you getting ready to sell it? So at any rate, this is my first. This is going to be my first 3D model. Not my first. My first 3D model is I'm going to create a new handles for my printer. I'm going to step away 1 second to show you. This is the cover for the printer, but the handle is the same on the door to the printer. And as you can see, it's really close. I can't get my fingers underneath the handle. So it's just kind of uncomfortable to open the door or take the lid off the printer. So my first thing is I'm going to redesign that handle so that it's a little bit further away from the surface of the printer so that it'll work better. But my first modeling related project is going to be this water tank. Now the other thing that I tried to get AI to produce was these water-filled barriers. So kind of continuing with my obsession on you know, K-rail or Jersey barriers, I wanted to Blender's new word, blunder. What does that mean, Thomas? I am struggling with Blender, if that's what you're suggesting. But I'm learning it. I think it's learnable. But I tried to get AI to also, ChatGPT again, to produce this barrier. Terrible. Even though I provided pictures and a verbal description, a text description rather, it really came out horribly. So I'll probably have to design this myself as well. I'll try Meshi AI, but I thought this would be cool. This is a really colorful addition to a street scene. On the layout would be these, or some variation of these water-filled plastic barriers. So I thought that would be cool. That would be fun to make. So I'm going to keep going. I know I'm over by a couple of minutes here. Okay, October 25th and 26th, Ray has got the information for the meet and greet down there, and I'll have to check. My wife is still in Dallas, but when she gets back, Ray, I'll have her confirm dates with our friends in North Carolina, and then I'll know whether or not I can attend. It sounds like there's going to be a good crew in attendance, so I'd hate to miss that. All right, so my last thing I want to share with you all, since it is after 9 already, is okay, Thomas is going to jeez, this is going to be hard to not go to Timonium. Very hard. So I'm going to run quickly through. So the first kit that I printed out, structure to make off of Thingiverse, was a greenhouse. And this is the roof panels, wall panels, and the front and back of the structure. Here's the entire kit that I printed out, obviously before I started getting my workbench organized. But you can see the foundation, a stone foundation printed out as one piece, and then there are all the other pieces. There is, as you can see my cursor right here, there is a missing frame for, it's on each wall. You know, I posted this in the comments to the model on Thingiverse, and I got some pointers from the guy who created this kit, and they didn't work. I reprinted it and it still came out the same. I slowed down the print head speed. I did a bunch of things and it didn't work. But I still made the model. I don't think that's going to be particularly noticeable. So I did this entire project using acrylic paint pens for the most part. And here's the foundation, and I just picked these three related colors to color the alternating stones on the foundation. And it was interesting that they had stone detail on the inside as well. So that was a really nice touch. Okay, so here I put the glass into the behind the frames. I thought I had some acetate, but I ended up just having this clear styrene sheet. But it wasn't too hard. I cut the windows out so that there was a little space between the windows and the ends of the frames, so that the frames themselves would touch and I wouldn't be changing the dimensions of the model when I assembled it. A little bit tricky to cut out the shape for the end walls, but at the end of the day, it came out fine. And I decided that I would make an interior and I would populate the inside of this greenhouse with greenhouse stuff, you know. Too bad Mark from Stu Structures isn't on. He could give me some advice about what to do. I just used a piece of sandpaper. I cut a piece of styrene the same size as the foundation, and then I just glued the sandpaper to, I colored the edge of the styrene in case something shows inside the model. Oh, and one step that I left out here, but I've done it by now, is the one thing I didn't do with acrylic pens is and no, Dave, I have yet to download the files for the Rail Ripper. I got a resin kit of the Rail Ripper from Poland, and it looks really cool and very well done, but I haven't downloaded those files. So here I did do a wash with Liquitex Artist Acrylics, burnt sienna or dark sienna, and I did a wash on that wall just to kill the light gray of the PLA that was showing through there. So now again, I wanted to make shelving inside the greenhouse. And so Thomas, the URL for Meshy is meshy.ai, meshy.ai. Let me know what luck you have with it. So I went online and I found this these planks that someone had already modeled on Thingiverse. I shrank them down really small, printed them out, and they're great planks for making the shelving inside the greenhouse. Now I used Tight Bond to do some of this assembly. Here I am gluing the sandpaper onto the styrene sheet, spreading it with my finger. And there it is attached. I then put it under some weight to dry. While I was doing that, I painted these planks that I'd printed out. You'll go if I go, Dave. Okay, well, I'm hoping to go. I just don't, if I've got a family commitment, you know, I made my wife go to Canada and go to the meet and greet. I can't say we're not going to visit her friends because I have to go to Timonium. So I'll just have to see what happens. But if it's not that same weekend, I'll be there. So here are the planks that I've cut to hold pots and planting supply and plants. I'm going to have plants growing out of pots inside the greenhouse. I've got to figure out some legs, some way to elevate these planks a little bit. And now here I am getting ready to make some of these pots. So I had some black sprue from some kits. So I just used those to cut it. And then I had some various styrene rod and tubing that I could use to also make pots. And so I guess that's, oh, okay. So here I am starting to assemble the greenhouse, and this really went together very easily. I just used some of the Tight Bond, carefully applying it. That Tight Bond, thick Tight Bond, is something that Boxcar Jerry recommended to me, and it really is handy. Really is handy. So there's 2 walls installed. And there's 2 walls and two end walls and the side walls installed. And this went together really in a matter of minutes, honestly. And the styrene's very clear, so it looks really good. And I'm not sure if I have any pictures of it. Okay, so that's it. Well, that was just a movie of printing out the... So let me grab the greenhouse and I'll show it to you on screen as my swan song here. Where did I put it? Oh, I put it. I know I put it somewhere so I could show it to you. And so much for being organized and neat, right? So here's the greenhouse as it stands today. I've got the roof on. There's a slight gap at the top, as you can see, but I am going to be covering that. I'm going to be ultimately, those of you who met my wife know that she has a newly formed YouTube channel called In the Garden with Rose, and I am going to put In the Garden with Rose a long sign across the top of that, top of the roof, and then I'm actually going to try and model Rose inside, filming herself, have a camera up on a tripod, and have her standing in front of it, filming herself. So that should complete my greenhouse model. So I'm having a lot of fun with the model, and I'm having a lot of fun with 3D printing. And as I've said before, I'm angry at all of you people in 3D printing who didn't tell me how addictive this was going to be and warn me. But no, you encouraged me. Just kidding. If you're not 3D printing, I really recommend taking it up. It's not that hard. And the things you can do and the progress you can make quickly when you 3D print is pretty impressive if you're using models someone else has made. Static grass flowers. I like that, Thomas. I do like that. That sounds like a good idea. I should do the same because she really likes flowers. All right, I'm going to see if I can... I know I've got YouTube open somewhere. There we go. Oh, thank you, John, for putting up Rosa's channel. That's very nice of you. I'm back up to date. Good night, Randall. I see you're out. Well, that's possible, Joe. I'll have to see when we're due in North Carolina. We might be able to... I don't know what day she wants me to be there, so we'll find out. But... thank you, Ken. I'm really enjoying putting that little model together, coloring it and stuff, and you know, making the inside fixtures of that is simplified a lot with 3D printing. I made some extra, you know, in taking the advice of the model maker and reprinting the framework for the greenhouse. I have extra framing. I'm going to use that to make legs for the shelving inside the greenhouse, so it should go pretty quickly. So I'm excited about doing that and getting that done. And I will be working on my bench work. I finally have a concept. Okay, thank you, Ray. Ray is next. I have failed to look that up, so thank you, Ray. So Ray will be next on next Sunday. We look forward to The Godfather. Having the chair. So I mean, I have a couple. I think that's more than enough, Bob. After the 2-hour session last week and well over an hour this week, I have a feeling that's enough. Now, you know, YouTube is now showing pictures of me with the hard hat on, so that's back from over an hour ago. Weird. So, at any rate, I thank you all. I thank the Sidetrack Sunday team. Okay, Thomas, good. Let me know how that goes with you and Meshi AI. The guys on Plastic Model Mojo fed Meshi AI a text prompt, which was produce a printable 3D model of a human figure, a Russian infantryman in a summer 1943 uniform, carrying a certain weapon, wearing a certain hat, and they said they got a printable file. So, you know, it may work a lot better than ChatGPT for producing 3D models. You'll find out and let us know. Thank you, Chuck. Appreciate you being here. And I appreciate everybody on here. I appreciate the Sidetrack Sunday team allowing me to be part of the group. It's great fun. And I wish you all a tremendous week this week. Make sure that you make some time for modeling. 2 minutes every day, if nothing else. 2 minutes every day. Get into the habit of spending time at your bench, and let's test out this theory in Atomic Habits about the 2-minute rule. Doing something that you want to do for 2 minutes every day and just making it a habit. Let's see what happens. All right, thank you, Joe. Appreciate you as always. Hopefully I'll see you in Timonium. Yeah, Thomas, I think everything's fine, but the YouTube studio is just way out of date on the image it's showing me. I don't know why that is. But again, thank you, JD, for your help. Thanks, Ken. Good night, Anthony at GSB. I hope to see you in Timonium. I hope to see many of you in Timonium. I hope to be in Timonium, and I'll certainly let you know in the next week or so and register on Ray's site, as you all should do. He wants to get a head count, so follow that link that was provided earlier in the chat in order to register for that event so that Ray knows who's going to be there. So take care, everybody. Thanks again for listening and watching. I'll see you in chat. Until next time, keep on modeling.